Hello, and welcome to our channel. Today, we are diving deep into a highly sensitive and complex topic that has captured national and international attention: the ongoing discourse surrounding farm killings in South Africa and the recent remarks made by economic freedom fighters, EFF, leader Julius Malema. His statements have sparked intense conversations, as he challenges the widely accepted narrative of farm murders being racially motivated. Instead, Malema claims that many of these violent incidents are rooted in personal conflicts, particularly inheritance disputes. This perspective has added a new layer to an already intricate issue, raising questions about the true nature of farm-related violence, the media's influence on public perception, and what factors contribute to these tragic events. Understanding Malema's comments requires a thorough exploration of historical, social, and economic contexts that shape rural South African communities today. It also involves unpacking the intricate dynamics of land ownership, post-apartheid tensions, and the structural inequalities that continue to impact people living and working on farms. To truly grasp the weight of Malema's assertions, we must carefully examine the historical backdrop of South Africa's agricultural landscape, the evolution of farm attacks, and the real-life cases that bring both the traditional and alternative narratives to life. South Africa's agricultural history is deeply intertwined with its painful past of colonization and apartheid. During the apartheid era, land ownership was heavily skewed, with white farmers holding vast expanses of fertile land while black South Africans were systematically dispossessed and pushed into impoverished areas. This unequal distribution of land fueled widespread resentment and created a lasting legacy of economic disparity and social division. After apartheid ended in 1994, the new democratic government pledged land reform to correct historical injustices. However, the pace of land redistribution has been slow, leading to frustration and heightened tensions in rural areas where land remains a symbol of both wealth and oppression. Farm killings emerged as a highly contentious issue in post-apartheid South Africa. These incidents often involved brutal violence, and the victims were disproportionately white farmers. Many people frame these murders as racially motivated attacks, an extension of historical grievances and a form of violent retaliation against the injustices of apartheid. White farmers and agricultural organizations expressed growing fears that they were being systematically targeted, while some political figures amplified these concerns, portraying farm killings as an existential threat to South Africa's food security and rural stability. However, the motives behind farm killings are not always straightforward, and this is where Julius Malema's perspective comes into play. Malema, a fiery and controversial figure known for his radical stance on land reform, argues that many farm killings have nothing to do with race and are instead driven by personal disputes, often related to inheritance battles or internal farm conflicts. One case that exemplifies this argument is the arrest of 46-year-old Anelle de Bruin, who allegedly hired a hitman to murder her farmer husband to inherit his R50 million estate. According to police reports, De Bruin wanted to stage the killing as a farm attack to conceal her involvement, highlighting how personal gain can be a driving force behind such crimes. This case, while shocking, sheds light on the complex dynamics of farm violence. Malema's argument is that while some attacks may be racially charged, many others stem from financial motives, domestic disputes, or labor conflicts. He contends that sensationalizing farm murders as purely racial crimes distracts from addressing the broader socio-economic issues that contribute to violence in rural communities. By focusing solely on the racial aspect, South Africa risks ignoring other root causes of violence, such as poverty, unemployment, and the lack of mental health and conflict resolution services in isolated farming areas. Malema's statements have sparked a fierce backlash, with critics accusing him of trivializing the real dangers faced by farmers and their families. Organizations representing farmers argue that regardless of the motives, farm attacks are uniquely brutal, often involving prolonged torture and extreme violence. They insist that even if not all killings are racially motivated, the severity and frequency of these attacks warrant urgent intervention and greater protection for rural residents. On the other hand, Malema supporters argue that his comments encourage a more nuanced understanding of the issue, urging South Africans to confront the full spectrum of factors contributing to farm violence rather than clinging to a single narrative. The media's role in shaping public perception cannot be overstated. Sensational headlines and emotionally charged coverage can amplify fears and entrench divisive narratives, while underreporting or selectively highlighting certain aspects of cases can distort the public's understanding of the issue. Malema's challenge to the dominant narrative is, in part, a call for more balanced and investigative journalism, an invitation for reporters to dig deeper into the root causes of farm killings and present a more comprehensive picture to the public. Looking to the future, Malema's comments could influence policy discussions on rural safety and violence prevention. If inheritance disputes and personal conflicts are indeed significant contributors to farm killings, there may be a need for policy interventions that go beyond increased policing. These could include the introduction of accessible legal services to help resolve inheritance disputes, mental health resources for farm workers and families, and community-based conflict resolution programs to mediate disputes before they escalate to violence. Alternatively, if racially motivated attacks remain a persistent threat, policies may need to focus on reconciliation initiatives, cross-cultural dialogues, and strengthening rural security infrastructure. Ultimately, the discourse around farm killings in South Africa is far more complex than any single narrative can capture. It is a tangled web of historical injustice, economic hardship, social division, personal greed, and political rhetoric. Malema's statements serve as a reminder that understanding and addressing this issue requires a willingness to look beyond surface-level explanations and grapple with the multifaceted realities of life in South Africa's rural heartlands. His remarks may be controversial, but they spark an essential conversation about the nature of violence, the legacy of apartheid, and the long road toward genuine healing and justice. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this complex and emotional issue. Do you think Malema's comments provide valuable insight, or do they downplay the severity of farm attacks? Should South Africa rethink its approach to rural safety, or is the current narrative accurate? Share your views in the comments below. We value every perspective, and your input enriches the discussion. If you found this exploration informative, please like the video, subscribe to the channel for more in-depth analyses, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Let's keep this important conversation going. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.